Hello guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. This is the third video of React tutorial. In this video we are going to see basics of React and we will create one component as well. Before start, I will recommend you to watch full series of this tutorial for better understanding if you are new to this video. To watch full series, click here. You can find link in description as well. So let's get started. Before creating component, I think you should know basic of components. So I have prepared one presentation for better understanding. We will see that, then we will start creating component. If you like my presentation, then hit one like. So what is the component? The components are reusable bits of code. What it meant? It means we are just creating component for one separate module and we are just importing that into our another component. So like this, we are just distributing the component by module. Next is they are same like JavaScript functions. So what is JavaScript function? In JavaScript function, we are writing our logic and we are returning the data from that functions. Like that in React, we are just creating the component. In that component, we are writing the logic. That logic will be our HTML code and we are just returning that HTML code from that component. Component name should be always start with uppercase letter. So it is a best practice to write first letter as a capital while creating component. Next is component has to extend the React component class to access React components functions. Actually, this is for only class component, not for function component. So you are now thinking that what is class and function component. So next point will clear your confusion. So component comes with two types, that is class component and function components. We will see that both component. Before start, let's see the difference between both. So here is the difference between class component and function component. First point is class component is stateful and function component is stateless. So what it means, we will see that in our practical. We can use React lifecycle methods in class component and in function component, we can't use that lifecycle methods. In class component, it must have render method and in function component, there is no any render method used. A class component requires to extend from React.component class and we have to create render function which returns React element. And the function component is just a plain JavaScript function that accept props as argument and return React element. We can't use hook inside class component. We can use hooks in function component for state management. So these are the difference between the class component and function component. Next, we will start with creating the class component. After that, we will start creating the function component. So let's see one by one. Let's create class component first. For that, add new folder in source called components. In that folder, add one component, that is class component, and give name as class component dot JSX. Okay. So here we have created class component. Here I am giving a component name as a class component because after that I am creating the function component and we will see the difference between both in actual. So after creating the component, first step we need to do is import the React. So right here import React from React. Okay, done. So here we have created class component. So right here class, give a name of the class, that is class component. As we have seen recently, when we creating the class component, that time we need to extend component class into it. So right here extends component. Here you can see the component is get imported from React. So when we creating the class components, that time one render method is compulsory. So we need to add that method render. In that render method, add return method. In that return method, add any HTML tag to show the sample message. I'm adding here div. In that div, I'm writing I am a class component. Till now, here we have imported the React and component from React package. After that, we have created the class, extend component class into it. We have added the render method, whatever our logic that will be written from this return method. After all these things, All we need to do is we have to export this component so that we can use this component from any other component. Without exporting, we can't use this component in any other component. So right here, export default class component. So here we have done with the creating the class component. So all we need to do is add this component in our app.js component so that we can see that message. Because this is the first method is get called after application is get start. So remove this header part from here and we will add our component here. Before that we need to import that component. So right here class component from keyword dot and slash. After that you will see the hierarchy from that directory. So select here component, after that class component. When we importing the component, that time we not need to mention the extension of that component. So here we have imported the class component. After that add that class component here, class component. Okay. So here we have created the class component and we have used that class component in our app.js component. Save the changes and open the terminal so that we can run the project. So here write command npm start to start the application. As you can see here, this message we have added in class component. That means our class component is created successfully and we have used that class component in our app.js component. Here also you can see our application is running on 3000 port. So this is default port React is using to run the application. Here you can see one warning that this logo is defined but never used. So this is because this line. So we have removed this, save the changes. Here you can see compiled successfully. Done. So here we have done with the creating the class component. In next video, we will create a function component and we will see the difference between class component and function component in actual. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. See you in next video. Bye bye. Take care.